Welcome, bienvenidos. This is Roxana for Metamorphosis Rocks, and today we're doing something a little different here because I'm going very old school. I have an option of doing the live stream through a third party and it automatically goes through all the platforms. Unfortunately, um, I forgot my password for TikTok, so I can get into TikTok in other ways if I'm using the cell phone, but otherwise I can't. So I have you here and then I have TikTok here. So that's why I look a little upside and I'm looking at both sides just to keep you informed. So, what are we going to do today? Today, we are going to do a couple of things. I'm going to tell you my story with TikTok first, and then I'm going to talk about some of the things I've learned along the way. And the process, I'm going to answer some comments that have been said in the past and why people sometimes, because we all do it, by the way. I'm not signaling a particular person. We all make assumptions based on what we see on camera, and unfortunately, that's not the way it should work. Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for joining. So, as I was saying, I don't even know where to start, but I'm going to tell you a little story. 2 days ago, I started posting on TikTok Live. I didn't know I had that ability, so I decided I wanted to try it. And the last 2 nights I've done it, I have felt incredibly uncomfortable doing this, which makes no sense because you all know, and yes, I'm pointing at them because they're a different platform. You all know that I do this all the time, and I'm not scared of sitting here and talking nonsense for an hour. We all know that. But for some reason, 20 minutes on TikTok was a nightmare. And I started realizing that part of the reason why that was a nightmare was because I wasn't being true to myself in terms of I'm so afraid of saying something that would offend somebody on TikTok as opposed to here that I was doing a disservice in order to keep the audience happy because the themes that I talk about on TikTok are very different from what I talk about here sometimes, not all the time. So let me put it this way. If I had Aviddiva working right now, the stuff that you see on TikTok is closer to what I would be doing on Aviddiva, okay? Because it would be more slice of life and whatnot. So I was feeling very uncomfortable doing things on TikTok, and I apologize to TikTok for that. But it then became very obvious that I needed to figure out very quickly if I really want to use TikTok as another social media platform. And if I wanted to start this right, I needed to start from zero. And because I am in the process of reinventing you guys, I decided I was going to start from zero on both sides. Okay. Yes, I do have the cell phone here and I do have the camera here. Sorry, not sorry. I can't remember my password, okay? So let's take it from the top. My name is Roxana. I am Gen X. I have been living in Florida for 14 years. I have some medical issues that have made it impossible for a very long time for me to go work full time. Last year, I started working part time. I thought it was going to be 20 hours a week. I am now not only not doing the same job I was doing, same company, not doing the same job I was doing. I'm doing a completely different job now, but I'm also working as close to full time, as close to 40 hours as possible without going over. And in the process, I've lost 30 pounds. For those of you, specifically TikTok, who don't know, 5 years ago, I started getting attacked by the way, I've never been a big creator. I need to make that very clear. The goal was never to be a big creator. The goal was for me to make enough money to help make ends meet because my husband and my daughter are the ones who were working full time at that time. My goal now is to make enough money, whether it's from a job or from a job and from social media, that I can, if one of them loses their job or goes on a long extended break or anything like that happens, we can actually make enough money from everything I'm doing to support the rest of the family if anything happens. I don't know if that makes sense, but it is what it is. So then, hold on, give me a second. So then what happened was, I just realized that I never shared this, so nobody knows I'm live. Oh well. And now I shared it without actually saying what I'm doing. So there you go. It is what it is. So anyway, that's what's been happening at that point. So now, even though I'm still, for the purposes, this is really interesting. For those of you who are not American, let me explain something, because this is one of the points that comes up the most when people are attacking you. The way disability works in the United States, and I don't know if it's going to get worse now, but the way it used to work until the last time I checked, which was about a year and a half ago. In order for me to be considered disabled by the United States government, in order to have the benefits of being disabled, if you can call them that, I would have to, my personal disability does not count as a disability for the government. It does count when you're applying for work. It is considered a disability. And for those of you probably on TikTok that don't know, I have IBS. I've had IBS for the last 20 years. And when I have a flare up, I can spend days in bed. So I've had to basically mess with my diet, mess with everything enough so that I don't lose a lot of work. I have had to go home plenty of times from work because I'm in so much pain I cannot stand out for 7 hours. I do stand out for 7. It is really weird because I cannot lay in bed for many hours. I cannot sit for many hours, but I can stand up pretty much now for 7, 8 hours without a problem. And that was why I was having a hard time finding a job. Plus, the job market in Florida was ridiculously bad. I don't care what anybody says. The job market is this or that. No, ask people who are actually looking for work how hard it is to find a job, especially when you're over 50. But I digress. Anyway, bottom line is that a lot of people that don't come from the United States, and even people that come from the United States, don't understand that just because you're disabled doesn't mean that you qualify for disability in the United States. Also, in the United States, in order for you to qualify for disability, there's a certain income threshold. So basically, my husband would have to go and work as a bagger in a grocery store for us to be able to get disability. And then disability, I believe the cap is like $1,300 a month. So in a nutshell, no, it's not worth it to claim disability. I have never wanted to claim disability, but I have explained to people that because I'm disabled, it's a little easier for me to create content from home because, let's face it, I take the pictures while I'm sitting in the car. I can go ahead and make a little video and post it, and I'm happy. That was the goal. Or come here, do a live stream. That was the goal. Unfortunately, some people, I don't know if it's jealousy, I don't know if it's hate that other people are having fun and they're not. They were very hateful towards me 5 years ago. And what ended up happening is one of these people created an entire campaign where they basically splashed social media with a mugshot, which was fake, of me, accused of a crime that I've never committed against children in a state where I didn't live at the time that they said I committed said crimes, because I think it was 1998 or 2002. I don't remember what year it was, but I wasn't even living in Florida. But because people are stupid, they do what they do. Hi, TikTok. And it did scare me. It scared me enough. There were other things going on. I'm not going to get into that, but it scared me enough that I started making less and less content. And to be honest with you, I lost my mojo. I do commentary on one channel, Metamorphosis Rocks, and then I have another channel called Aviddiva where I talk about life as a Gen Xer and things like that. And yes, I have 4 channels on the other place, but I stopped doing it. I just stopped. I would get all these ideas. I would start filming the content, and then when it was time to edit the content, which if you've known me, good morning. Hey, Dre, I didn't think you were going to be awake this early. That's why I didn't send you a message. I'm on the other side too, just so you know. So yeah, that's a thing that happened. I lost all. Let me put it to you this way, and this is what happened with TikTok, and this is why I brought up TikTok. It went to the point where I second guessed everything I was doing. I second guessed everything I was saying, and so it ended up being a horrible thing for me. And Dre would know because Dre has been through it with me for most of these years. So the thing about it is, and if you can call it a life lesson that I learned from this experience, is you really, I don't care who you are, if you are very active on social media or not, there comes a point where you have to realize that not everybody that's talking to you, oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it. What is your problem? This is not a place for negativity, sir, so you can go by. Um, it's kind of weird that you use that word because, well, whatever. So the thing about it is, don't let the bad juju of other people affect what you do. Now, the whole situation. Good morning. Um, the thing about it is, let me see how this works. Hold on, because I'm curious. Can I? No, I don't want to do that. Bingo. I didn't know I could do this from here. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Now, so going back to the whole situation, I'm learning to use TikTok, by the way. So when you see me going like this, is because the camera for that is here, and I am having a hard time figuring out how to work this. But Dre could tell you because he was on the first live I did on TikTok, and it was, I'm telling you, it was crazy. I could not understand anything. What the hell is wrong with this person? Anyway, that person's no longer here, so I don't care. Yeah, I did block him. I don't know, Dre, if you're watching TikTok, but some people don't have anything better else to do. And sometimes people tell you, "Oh, don't worry about the engagement. Don't block anybody." No, no, no. Yeah, I'm blocking people that are rude because I'm trying to make this. The number one reason why I'm struggling with figuring out what kind of content to post on any platform right now is because the one thing that I'm noticing is that the negativity of Twitter is spreading like wildfire. Let's be real. And the beauty of things like TikTok and other platforms is that you can pretty much teach the algorithm. I didn't know I could block people on TikTok. Call me stupid. Um, I didn't realize that. So let me back up. There, most of the platforms, except for Twitter, you can pretty much teach it to correct. I have to protect my peace. I agree with you. There's this thing about being able to teach the algorithm what you want to see more of, right? Twitter, you can't do that anymore because they just want to shove hate your way. If there is one thing I'm hoping that I heard Tesla's trying to kick Elon out of their company, I'm hoping that somebody kicks him out of Twitter. Because clearly this man is not pro freedom of speech. Now, coincidentally, freedom of speech is not freedom from consequences. I want to leave that clear, number one. And number two, freedom of speech does not apply to private companies. It only applies to the government in the United States. But I digress. Anyway, let's go back to the whole situation about what happened 5 years ago and how it landed now. I lost all my ability to not second guess myself, which I think is the thing that got me really far the first time around. I never second guess myself. I made a video. If it bombed, it bombed. If it went well, it went well. now I'm in a position mentally, physically, and of course financially that I don't depend on social media for an income. Would I want to have some extra money right now? I could use it, but I'm not. I'm strongly consider deleting Twitter and be done with the app because it's just a cesspool. I think I'm going to do what Peter Munn did. I don't know if you've seen what Peter Munn did, but what he did was basically he left the account open so that he has access to it when he wants to. But he's not posting on it at all, and he's not going over there. My issue is that every once in a while, the funniest stories I find them on Twitter. And so I end up going to Twitter. Like, to give you an example, a couple days ago, I saw one about yet another person or account or whatever comparing Shakira to Beyonce. Because supposedly it's always women against women. You know what I mean? And I just thought it was funny because of the answers people were giving them. Because I guess people were sitting in the same side of the fence that I was sitting, which is, why are you hating and putting two women against each other? Two talented women, by the way, because in their own right, Shakira and Beyonce are very talented. All because Shakira can do belly dancing and I guess Beyonce cannot. I mean, I think Beyonce can dance very well, but whatever. Here's the thing with belly dancing. Belly dancing is it's not just shaking your hips, okay? It is an entire art form. And I know because I used to do it a long time ago, I started learning how to do it. And it is a lot harder than it looks. And for people who grew up dancing plena and trying to do salsa, I suck at salsa, and dancing merengue, you think that because you know how to move your hips, you can do belly dancing. You cannot. It doesn't work that way. I don't care what style. The only style of dance that I can think of that might help you with belly dancing is if you're Hawaiian and you do all the Hawaiian dances. Because that kind of Hawaiian Samoan kind of dance style, the hip movements are very similar to belly dancing. But if you don't know how to, I don't want to say isolate, but it's the only word that applies. Isolate your hips while you're dancing. If you don't know how to do that, you're not going to be able to do belly dancing very well, at least in the beginning until you get used to it. Plus, you have to learn to like move your neck in a certain way. And I'll never forget it. The first tip was like trying to do that. And it looks simple enough and you think it's really easy, but when you've been doing it for 5 minutes and your neck is screaming at you, yeah, you get tired of it. So yeah, I did belly dancing. And now I'm turning red. But yes, so my hips don't lie either. They lie a lot, baby. And the funny thing is I've been thinking lately when I finish, I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm beginning to like have less stuff behind me. When I finish doing this, because this is the computer itself, I'm seriously thinking of starting to do lessons again. Just because I think the easiest way to get rid of most of the hip weight, of much of the fat deposits, if you will, would be belly dancing. It's really good. I mean, I don't think it's like riding a bike. I don't think that as soon as I start doing it again, it's going to come back to me. But I can tell you that it is really a lot of fun. And it's not just being sexy. It's really funny because belly dancing was created for women to like talk to each other, for lack of a better word. And people always think it's just about sex. It isn't. But going back to the 5 years and the whole thing. So I was second guessing myself. Fat deposit. Hey, it is. So I told you the first lesson is don't let people get to you. And you have to understand what happened to me 5 years ago. I ended up having to call the police. I had to file a report. I had to do a lot of things because I had people following me. And at this point, we didn't know if they were coming from somebody that was saying something on social media or not. The number one lesson when you're teaching your algorithm what to show you is to never show yourself. Meaning, It's okay if you watch your own content so that you can see how other people see you. It's not okay for you. It's not that it's not okay. It's that I don't recommend you watching people talking about you, good or bad. Good because, and this might sound weird, but the reason why I say good is because it can go to your head. If you are not used to having people praise you or talk nice about you or whatever, it can go to your head. It is what it is. Hold on, give me a second. I can't see. I can't see anything. So now I'm inviting people and I don't even know what I'm doing. But yeah, I'm inviting people just because I feel like inviting people to come over. And Dre, if I send you one, I apologize in advance because I tried, but I can't see crap. Anyway, what other people think of me is none of my business. That's what I to learn. You know what's really funny? It's very easy to say that because because you've been here long enough, that I used to say that a lot. It's really funny because it's a little different when it comes to you, but we go back to the hypocrisy that I was talking about last night. We tend to have one measuring stick for people, and then we have one measuring stick for ourselves. And people who have been through a lot of trauma in their life or a lot of bad things happening to them in their life, hello, welcome. People like that will get I don't know why this thing stopped moving. Anyway, people like that will tend to have a very different measuring stick for ourselves, and it tends to be on the side of the hate. And what I mean by that is what we were talking about last night was the fact that people tend to accept things from some people, and that same behavior is considered bad if the people you don't like do it. And you and I are very familiar with this because we can all remember when Jeffree Star was Jeffree Star, because let's face it, Jeffree is not at all what he used to be. But when Jeffree Star was at the top of his game, a lot of us, and I can count myself in it, used to have a different way of looking at his behavior. And some people, because this is one of the reasons why I stopped supporting Jeffree, some people still to this day support on Jeffree what they wouldn't support on any other creator. And that's what drives me crazy. Correct. People have double standards. And by the way, don't get me wrong. I know we all have a double standard in some measure, but let me give you an example. If you get along with your family, okay? You get along with your family and one of your family members does something wrong. You have two choices at that point. You can either love them through the pain of taking them to whatever the consequences of their actions are, or you can just overlook it because it's my cousin or it's my brother or it's my tia or whatever, right? We see too much people who are willing to support bad behavior from people that they care about, and they assume that that means they're being supportive. I don't know if this is a generational thing or not. I'm not going to get into that, but I can tell you this. People who support your bad behavior are not supportive. Let me say that again. People who support your bad behavior are not supportive. People who will stand up to you and call you out on your bullcrap, those are the real ones. And unfortunately, we have come to a point in society where we think that people supporting me means that they're going to put up with all my crap, because if not, I'm canceled. First of all, cancellation doesn't exist. Jeffree Star's been canceled for years, and last time I looked, he's still a millionaire. Okay, so cancellation, what cancellation does is it changes your reality in a way. Like, again, Jeffree Star was at the top of his game. Now he's not. He's become as irrelevant as the rest of us. He's trying to hang on to relevancy, which I think is stupid, and he's going to lose a lot of money doing it, but he's not what he used to be, right? So here's the thing. People still support that. And he thinks, because this goes both ways, the people who support him think that they are being supportive and a good friend by supporting his bad behavior. The person being supported thinks that his supporters are the right ones because they're supporting their bad behavior. And they're both wrong. First of all, if you support somebody through their bad behavior, you're not being a real friend. Point blank, period. You're being an enabler, and that's not a good thing. Now, that might get you on a ride for a little while, but eventually you're going to figure out that you cannot support that behavior. Canceling don't work, people. Correct. Number 2, for the person, wait, did I go with the person that's being supportive? They're not. Okay. For the person being, let me say it again because I got confused because I was reading the comment. For the person who is being supported, this is the one side. You're not surrounded by friends. You're surrounded by enablers, and there's going to come a point where you're going to end up on a cliff, and you're going to say, I'm going to jump off this cliff because I think I can survive it. And those people are going to say, yeah. And when you don't survive it, they're going to move on with their lives, and you're going to be dead. Meanwhile, the people who support bad behavior, you are not being supportive, you're being an enabler. And until we go back to normalizing, calling out people when they do something wrong, we're going to keep seeing what we're seeing now in society. And by the way, that's not an American thing. It's everywhere, okay? I'm going to give you another example of enabling bad behavior that we all know and are familiar with, at least the people that, hold on. Yeah, but you're not giving me things when you're supposed to give them to me. So why are you sending me messages now? James Charles. James Charles got quote unquote canceled, lost it was really funny to me that people were like, well, he lost 500,000 subscribers in one day. He had 15 million subscribers. That wasn't even a dent. And although I'm sure that he felt the heat a little bit because people were hating on him, that died down in 3 days. The one trick about cancellation that really, for the people that actually don't let cancellation affect them, if you wait anywhere between 3 days and a week, there'll be another scandal that'll be bigger than yours and you will be off the hook. You're welcome. Just in case you didn't know, I'm a Scorpio. I'm not into bullshit. So we go back to the lessons I've learned in the last 5 years. Number 1, don't let people tell you how to think about yourself negatively or positively. Because again, if you let the positive, it might go to your head. And also, the other reason why you don't want to just go with the positive, don't say, if you find out about it, say thank you, obviously. But don't let it go to your head. Because even when you don't let it go to your head, if you only surround yourself with people that like you, you're missing out on the opportunity of figuring out why other people are not getting the message, if you know what I mean. If that is your goal on social media, is to spread a message. In my case, when I started out I can't say that on this one, on the other channel, on the other app, my goal was to take stories from social media and see how we could learn something for real life. And people just wanted the drama. They didn't care about, and that's fine. If all you want is drama, congratulations, have a nice life. That's not my gig. My gig has always been about what can I learn about every situation in my life, including when these people came for me. So no, it's not something that I'm going to, it's crazy how people just look past James' behavior. Correct. So going back to James for a second. First of all, he did not get canceled because When you consider that 500,000 of 15 million were gone, that's not even 10% of his audience. Is it? No, because 10% of his audience would have been 1.5 million people leaving. There, I believe at the height it was 1 million. So it wasn't even 10% of his audience that left. Number two, in the case of James Charles, people now say, well, it wasn't that bad. And let me be very clear about something, because I have made some expressions at times, and I believe this of anybody. If you are 19 and you are interested in somebody that's 17, I don't necessarily have a problem with that. And I'm going to tell you why. Well, first of all, it depends on the state, but also you're not that far away. But if you're already 21 and you're going for a 15-year-old, oh yeah, I have a problem. Do I think that in the case of James Charles, it comes back to immaturity on his part? Absolutely. Do I think, in my perception, I don't think it's so much about grooming as it is about his level of maturity. He's not mature enough to have an adult relationship. Period. So he entertains himself with younger people. Now, the difference between what I consider a groomer or a PDF file and somebody that is just immature would be if that person turns to, I don't know, how old is he? Is he 24 already? Because if he's 24 and he's going for 21-year-olds, I don't have a problem with that. And that's another thing that I find fascinating about how people want to overcorrect all the time. He's 24. I think he is. If he's 24 and he's going for 21-year-olds, look, he likes them younger. That's fine, so long as they're legal. I don't have a problem with that. And I bring this up because I want to make a statement based on something that I saw in all places on Twitter. Somebody was mad because some 40-year-old was dating a 25-year-old. Are they both legal? Because if they're both legal, I don't give a damn. Correction, 25. Okay, so that's, but still, if he wants to date 21-year-olds, let him, because they're legal. I have a problem if he wants to date a 16-year-old, because now he's 25. So that's a 9-year difference. And by the way, before I keep going, personally, I don't know that I would date somebody that is 10, 20 years younger than me. But would I judge somebody that decided to marry somebody 20 years younger? Not always. Case in point, Bill Belichick. If you don't know who Bill Belichick is, he is, depending on who you ask, a great coach for a cheating team or a cheater coach for a winning team. Either way, I don't like him. So I'm not sure if he retired. I think he retired and he went on to do something else. I can't remember. I can't be bothered because, again, I don't like him. But apparently he's dating a younger woman. Do I have a problem with that? No, I don't care. Let her have him and enjoy it, whatever. But the thing about it for me is there's two things. There's two reasons why I'm bringing this up. Bill Belichick is dating a younger woman. And the reason why people are upset is because they feel like she is a gold digger trying to get his money, because apparently she's made $9 million since she started dating him. I don't care. Again, I want to make that clear. How he spends his money and what he lets her do is his problem, not mine. What I find interesting is that people are concerned about his money, and my favorite, which I saved because I still don't know if I'm going to make a video about this or not, is the fact that somebody, if you are familiar with Game of Thrones, Arya Stark decided to delete a person on the show, and she grabbed him like this and went like this, right? And they used the picture right when she's about to do it, and they said Bill Belichick and his girlfriend, blah, 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 blah. I think her name is Jordan or something like that. And I lost it when I saw that, because that is the perception that people have about that relationship. All because he was asked in an interview how they meet, and she said, We're not going to talk about that from off screen. And so they think she's running his life. I don't care. It's his problem, not mine. Unless he has Alzheimer's or any other kind of cognitive decline. If he's not, then, it is what it is. But I thought that was hilarious. At 33, my lowest 25, and as it gets older, that number gets higher. Correct. That's the way I look at it. Like, I'm 58 now. If I was single, which I'm not, and I was in better shape than I am, which I'm not, I would not go past, I'm going to say 40 would be pushing it. I would say 45. And the reason is because I would like to stay within the same generation, just because I know that even though I don't want to accept it, people that were born in first of all, I could not date somebody that was in my daughter's generation. This is just not going to happen. My daughter's a millennial. But second of all, I just think that there's too many differences. I would have to find somebody that had the same taste that I do, even if there's differences, because I already did different ones. I married a politically conservative person, and I'm not that. So, and although the one thing I can thank Donald Trump for is that I've been able to move my husband to the dark side, like he calls it. He's not liberal, by the way, but he now sees everything I have been complaining about that side of the aisle. Here's the thing, politically speaking, and that's all I'm going to say about politics. Politically speaking, I think they're all bad. Period. End of story. So he always defended his side and bashed my side. Now he is able to bash both sides, which is why I say that I brought him to the dark side. My husband also, by the way, is 8 months younger than me. That's as young as I've ever been, because I've always liked older men. The older I get, the more I like. But that's because I'm getting older. So that's where we are. Hi, welcome. So the thing about it is, I don't have a clue how long I've been speaking because this camera is blocking. Oh, it's been 37 minutes. I'm not going to stay too long because my throat's beginning to hurt me already. And I'm not even done. So the thing about it is that here's the playbook for what's happening now and why I feel the way I feel about this. Now that I gave you 2 examples of cancellations that didn't really cancel anybody. I love sitting here and talking to people. I love doing live streams. Am I probably going to try to figure out a way that I can do everything in one platform so I don't have to be looking at 2 cameras at the same time? More than likely, of course, because this is giving me a headache. But even if I don't find a way of doing this, I love doing this even when people don't like me. And the reason why I'm telling you this is not because I want sympathy. It's because I want you to think in your life, what are things that you like to do? And people don't like you, so they're going to bash you for them and ignore them. So long as it's legal, you're not harming anybody, because let's face it, why would a creator with 1,000 subscribers hurt any, or in this case 500 on TikTok, hurt anybody? I don't bash people. I don't send people to hurt people. I just give opinions on things. Sometimes I'm right. Most of the times I'm right. Sometimes I was ahead of myself. It will give me a head. Yeah, it is. But the bottom line is, I'm just having fun here. And I think some people get really jealous when they see somebody having fun, which is crazy to me. I don't understand it. But it is what it is. I sit here, I talk to people, I have a good time, and then I go about my day. And this is something that I've heard Peter Munn say, and I've heard other people say, but Peter is the last one that I heard saying this. People seem to think that we come to social media, talk about a person, and we're obsessing about the person all the time. Hey, how are you doing, babe? Look, Dre, somebody came and joined. So the TikTok username is the same as Metamorphosis, right? I haven't changed it. I haven't found you, but I haven't changed it. Because I was looking for you the other day and I couldn't find you. So, and I didn't know if you were using, I'm not doxing people, just so you know why I'm using your username, not your real name, is because I'm terrified because people used to attack me and tell me that I was doxing people because I would use their real first name and not the name on the thing. And I didn't realize that was like a thing. So since that happened, I always use the username as it appears on the screen and not your name. So that doesn't mean I don't know your name, people. It means that I don't want to dox you. All right. I'm on my honeymoon. Hello. Are you serious? Oh my God. That is awesome. Congratulations, Mama. That is fantastic. Enjoy the Mexican sun. Going back to the story. So the thing about it is, where was I? Now I forgot. I got so excited for seeing Mama that I totally lost track of what I was saying. Dre, do you remember what we were talking about? We were talking about cancellation. Then we were talking about how people want to poop on your parade. Well, I don't miss you as much because you've been here and but you and Drake don't match up when you come to see me. So that's probably why. You don't remember either. So we were talking about cancellation. Then we were talking about the fact that we were talking about age. No, that was before the cancellation. Well, it was in between. And then we were talking about oh yeah, I just got it. I got back to it. One of the things that Peter Munn says, and I'm mentioning Peter because he is the one that sticks in my head. I know other people have mentioned this also. It's the fact that people think that you come, you film a video about a person, and then you have to find out everything that happens with that person. That's not the way it works, people. That really isn't the way it works. Hi, those brownies. So the way it actually works is, in my case, and I'm being very specific that I'm talking about me. Okay. The way it works is I find a topic that I find interesting, probably scrolling through social media. I will make a video about it and I will totally forget that them people exist until the next time I see them on my feed. It is what it is. Right now, I'm doing paperwork because I want to, what's it called? I want to start the business again. Wait. I don't know what that means. I have a notification, but I don't have time to read it. Oh, to review and approve. Okay, hold on. Hold the phone. I don't have time for that. Anyway, I apologize in advance if your comment didn't make it through because I didn't know how to do it. So, remember that creator who called creators over 30 OABs? Yeah, I do. I don't know. Did that person transition? Did they detransition? What is the story with that creator? Because I saw one time that they wanted to be spoken about as she, her, and then I don't know what happened. So I haven't heard from that person in a long time. But here's the thing. Let me go back to the whole point that I was trying to make. Normal people, let's put it that way. Normal content creators are not obsessed with you or with anybody else. We come to social media, we create content on something that we found interesting, and then we move on with our lives. Personally, and I just, oh, okay. Personally, and this is my personal experience, and I just remember the word I was looking for. I'm in the middle of trying to restart my business, so I'm doing the paperwork so that can happen because I want to be able to funnel all the funds to a separate account that goes And that way I can give myself a paycheck, if that makes sense, and then use the rest of the money to cover the internet and the phone. And you know what I mean? Separate the payments so that when tax time comes next year, because I have every intention of making at least enough money to have to pay taxes, okay? I can go ahead and file taxes separately. That's where I'm at right now. I am also trying to finish emptying the storage unit because this is the last month I want to pay of storage. I am also trying to figure out how to make, I don't know that you can, no, you can't see them from here, but I have several machines here. They are for the business that my sister and I collaborate in. I have a goal of doing something for the company that I work for an event that I'm thinking in my head. And by next week, I want to have like a mock up of everything that I want to do so I can give it to my boss and say yes or no. Because he gave me permission to do something, but I haven't told him everything. And I want to have everything, cost and everything else. I have a lot of stuff going that has nothing to do with YouTube. All I really want to do is create short content, and by short I mean less than 10 minutes. Talk about slice of life things. Do updates on my life on Aviddiva and not on this venue, and just post pretty pictures of things that I see around the world, and keep scootering because I love my scooter. Yeah, Mama J, I have an electric scooter and I'm having too much fun with it. So, yeah, that's my life right now. I don't have time to spend too much time concentrating on whatever person I mention, or if I made a video on a particular situation, unless it's something that impacts a lot of people, it's not going to be strong in my mind. And I'm going to give you an example for TikTok specifically. I made a video that could be construed as political because everything is political nowadays, about a certain university and their horrible behavior after an event. Tomorrow, when I'm finally done with everything that I'm doing this weekend, I'm going to sit down to see where that is, because that bothers me. I don't have a college student child in my purview. My nephews and nieces are all over that age. I don't know that I have anybody. I think it's Villanova, but I'm not entirely sure that it was Villanova, the university in question. I don't believe I have anybody in that university specifically, whatever university it is. What the hell? Well, it's nice to see that people don't listen when you tell them don't call me. But I want to see an update on that situation because that was something that was important and interesting to me. Normally, what I find interesting are things that have nothing to do with the celebrities that we've talked about on this channel. Most of the time, I've never done a lot of makeup, although I own a lot of makeup. I would like to get back to wear my little crown and put makeup on and maybe bringing back the girls. And if you know, you know. The girls are right now hanging in a closet far away from the bathroom because I don't want the humidity to mess them up. But until I find I need to put something on them so that they don't look thirsty. Um, I asked for a loan like 4 months ago, and these people are still chasing me down, even though they denied the loan originally. Now they want to give me a loan. I can't. The girls, I miss the girls. I miss them too. And the beauty is that the hair is short enough that I can make that work. But is that going to happen? I don't know. Well, actually, I do know. I'm not going to tell you. But I can tell you this. This is my fun time. I hope you can find something that is your fun time for yourself. Because the truth of it is that we all need something fun, especially in dark times. If you're living under circumstances that are very dark to you, and many of us are, having something fun to relate to is just, to me, it's awesome. And I hope and I wish for you that you find something that is fun for you. For now, I'm going to say goodbye because my throat is dying, even though I've only been talking for like 50 minutes. To Dre and Mama J, thank you for keeping me company. And Thank you for TikTok. We'll see how this works later. I have to remember my password at some point. Love you all. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for coming. And there you see my finger. All right. Bye.